What do the Fazbear Frights stories tell us about the game lore? What mysteries do they answer? What new and intriguing mysteries do they create? Welcome back, my fellow gamers. This is Top 10 Gaming and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Today we're here to discuss some of these questions and more as we count down the top 10 most important Fazbear Frights stories. Let's get into it. Number 10. Room for One More. Room for One More is likely a story that alludes to all the ways animatronics seem to sneak around and escape or infiltrate various places. In the direct case of this story, we see them actually attempting to sneak out of the complex, at least when it comes to the mini-arenas featured here, who attempted to sneak out inside Stanley, the security guard on duty, who can't help but fall asleep each night. And if I may add, were successful. Room for One More is also a reference to a line that Lefty says in Ultimate Custom Night, which could also have a double meaning considering that Lefty in Pizzeria Simulator is a disguise used to sneak in the puppet. Room for One More is from Fazbear Frights, number 3, 1:35 a.m. Number 9. Friendly Face. This is the first story where we actually see a lost life somehow revived via an animatronic. Or well, I guess we've seen lost lives sort of revived via animatronics, but not in this way before. In the case of Friendly Faces, Fazbear Entertainment only promises to be able to revive lives with a lost pet. The Friendly Faces service also only claims to be able to use the DNA that they get to recreate the face of your lost pet, which is then put on an animatronic animal that is sent to you. Apparently, it does not recreate the personality of the lost animal. However, this is still a step closer than we were to animatronics being used to bring back life as opposed to being possessed by spirits. So like I said, this is kind of similar, but it's pretty different because these aren't, well, they're lives that are still dead, but they're lives that are being brought back with an animatronic intentionally, as opposed to kind of being possessed. This could be a story that is alluding to William Afton using animatronics to bring back the lives of his children after they were lost. Perhaps bringing back Crying Child as Michael? With this kind of mad science, anything is pretty much possible. Friendly Face is the title story from Fazbear Frights, book number 10. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want us to get more into the Fazbear Frights books and all of the stories in them, there's a lot of real good ones, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also, if you give us a thumbs up, the next book will come sooner. Ha! Number 8. Coming Home. This story confirms the identity of the spirit that possesses Chica, although we had a pretty good indicator of that with the gravestones we saw in FNAF 6, and how they lined up with the animatronic heads seen in FNAF 3. However, this story pretty much confirms that theory to be true. Here we meet the spirit of a young girl named Susie, who knows she is nearing her time to pass over. She is able to move about her home, visiting her living and remaining family during the day, and looking for closure. Through her sister Samantha's drawings, she's able to communicate with her. Every night and permanently at the end of the story, Susie is spirited away by Chica. The story also leads us to believe that Susie has two sides, or maybe split personas, for her spirit, with this version in the story being peaceful and the one that possesses Chica being more aggressive and in pain or in agony. Coming Home is a story that appears in Fazbear Frights book number 4, Step Closer. Number 7. 1:35 a.m. 1:35 a.m. is significant because it potentially gives us a look at someone who is meant to be a stand-in or allusion to Mrs. Afton. Granted, it seems all we've really gotten is allusions to her character thus far, which really makes me wonder if she even exists, and if the Afton children might not just be solely robotic creations of Williams. But I digress. In 1:35 a.m. we follow the story of Delilah, who becomes haunted by an alarm clock doll she purchases at a garage sale, who wakes her up in the middle of the night every night, even after she has already thrown the doll out. Delilah has a pretty tragic backstory filled with love and loss, and the doll Ella reminds Delilah of the child she has always wanted, which was why she bought it in the first place. Exhausted, Delilah ends up dying in an event in a nearby building that is under construction, possibly alluding to the death of the unknown person mentioned to us in Sister Location by Hand Unit. 1:35 a.m. comes to us from the Fazbear Frights book of the same name, which is book number 3 in the series. Number 6. To Be Beautiful. To Be Beautiful is a disturbing story that follows Sarah, a young girl who just wants to be beautiful because she believes that this is why no one notices her. She finds an animatronic named Eleanor, cleans her up, and in exchange for restoring her appearance and rescuing her, Eleanor promises to grant Sarah a wish. This is one of those be careful what you wish for stories. Sarah tells Eleanor of her desire to be beautiful. Eleanor sets out to make Sarah's wish come true, but does so in a very disturbing way, effectively giving Sarah surgery at night night while she sleeps. While Sarah wakes up every morning feeling more and more beautiful as parts of her progressively changed, in the end we learn that Eleanor really had been replacing parts of Sarah with junk. Eleanor gave Sarah a necklace to wear, and when this is accidentally removed, the truth is basically revealed. Eleanor herself is revealed to have somehow used these parts to create her own kind of glamour, transforming into Sarah pre-surgery when she presses her own matching necklace. Eleanor appears to also look a lot like Circus Baby from Sister Location, leading many to think that this might be one of Baby's escape attempts that went well and she was just using like another name, Eleanor, or that Eleanor herself is a different Circus Baby model and there are multiple Circus Babies out there. We always knew that Circus Baby could kind of modify her appearance using her pins, but this adds a whole new layer to the level of shapeshifting she could be capable of. To Be Beautiful is a story that comes to us from Fazbear Frights number 1, Into the Pit. Number 5, Epilogue number 1. While we haven't yet seen the character in the games, the first epilogue introduces us to the Stitch Wraith. The Stitch Wraith for a long time was a character of great mystery. We didn't really know who the Stitch Wraith was, or even why they were there. Later on, we'd find out many important pieces of lore and facts in relation to how the world works via the Stitch Wraith and their story. So the introduction of this character and their mysterious case in the first epilogue was pretty important in terms of what it led us to later. It's unclear if this is a character that we could see showing up in the games at any time soon or not, but many fans have speculated that sooner or later we'll at least see some kind of reference to the Stitch Wraith in the FNAF game universe. Number 4, The Man in Room 1280. This story was initially intended to be the last story we'd get in the Fazbear Frights series, but the book series was extended from 5 books total to 11. However, its initial intended place as the final story does make it still quite important, because you gotta remember this was the story that originally we were thinking this is going to be it, and when they were writing the books they thought this was going to be it. The Man in Room 1280 was thought of as being the continuation of William Afton's story, as it is believed he is the unknown man who is still somehow badly damaged and burned but miraculously alive in the hospital. Even after they took him off of life support, he still somehow continued to live. The spirit who is seemingly keeping him alive is believed to be Andrew, the vengeful spirit who is attached to the Stitch Wraith, and possibly also the child we see in the Happiest Day minigame, who wears the alligator mask, possibly Montgomery Gator's mask. We don't really know that yet, but that's what it seems to be. The Man in Room 1280 comes to us from the 5th Fazbear Frights book, Bunny Call. Number 3, The New Kid. The New Kid follows Devin and his friend Mick. These two young friends welcome a new kid into their group who also happens to be the new kid at school, Kelsey. Kelsey is popular because he is considered to be handsome and nice. While both friends find themselves feeling slightly jealous of Kelsey because of this, they also can't help but like him as well. Kelsey offers to let them use an empty room at his farmhouse for a new hangout spot, but too many people get invited to join, which means Devin and Mick ultimately get left out. Womp womp. To get revenge on Kelsey, Devin decides to pull a prank on him, taking both Mick and Kelsey to an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza for them to use as their new hangout spot. Devin makes Kelsey wear an abandoned golden Freddy suit, but the spring locks malfunction while Kelsey dances around in it, impaling him. Frightened, Devin and Mick make a break for it, leaving Kelsey behind, though Devin, feeling guilty, later returns planning to save Kelsey and nurse him back to health. However, when he reaches into the suit to try to help Kelsey, who he thinks is in there, his arm gets crushed by the animatronic's jaws, and he sees not Kelsey's blonde hair but black curly hair instead, on what appears to be a corpse. The implication at the end of the story is that Kelsey is the spirit or one of the spirits who haunts Golden Freddy, as we see him arrive at a new school attempting to befriend new students, even after his death. While many think Cassidy or Crying Child, or perhaps both, possess Golden Freddy, some have pondered if this is evidence that a third spirit might also possess the animatronic, and wonder if this could be Andrew, who is attached to the story The Man in Room 1280 and the Stitch Wraith epilogues. Or it could be possible that Andrew's actually the one possessing Golden Freddy and neither of the other spirits are. The New Kid is a story that comes to us from Fazbear Frights number 3, 1:35 AM. Number 2, Into the Pit. Into the Pit is a really weird story from the book Fazbear Frights number 1, Into the Pit, about a time-traveling ball pit that exists within a present-day dingy pizza place called Jeff's Pizza. Oswald spends most of his days there not having much money to do anything else due to his dad losing his job at the local mill. While at Jeff's Pizza one day, Oswald hides from his dad, who he is mad at, in the ball pit. Hiding in the ball pit, he finds when he emerges that he is transported to a different place and time, ending up at what appears to be one of the Fazbear pizza places circa 1985. He ends up making friends, but notices the sinister presence of a giant yellow bunny animatronic, who it turns out is not actually an animatronic at all. Through this story, we learn that time travel is seemingly possible in the world of FNAF, and we get a glimpse into what appears to be the missing kids incident, a day when multiple victims were seemingly targeted, or at least where that became apparent as the pizza place seems to be in chaos. Number 1. The Real Jake. The Real Jake is from the 6th book in the series, Fazbear Frights number 6, Blackbird. It's through this story that we believe we get confirmation of the name of Crying Child, assuming the books and the game lore match up in the ways that we think, or at least are related. Jake follows the story of a young boy who is very sick, but who is comforted by a family friend, Margie, who looks after him, and a doll named Simon, with him while his father is overseas, serving in the military. His father's name is Evan, and it's revealed that his father also has a brother named Michael. What? Jake and Evan both don't survive through to the end of this story, but the fact that Evan, the suspected name for Crying Child, believed to be Michael Afton's younger brother, is mentioned and is actually connected to a brother named Michael in this story is huge, and for many has been used as supporting evidence to confirm that Evan is in fact Crying Child's real name. And if you're wondering where people got Evan from to begin with, it was from the survival logbook, so we've got like double evidence. Double evidence! What stories do you think are the most important? What is your favorite Fazbear Fright book? Do you think the Stitch Wraith will make an appearance in Security Breach, or do you think we probably still won't see the Stitch Wraith for a while? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I'm your host, McKnight, reminding you as always to keep on gaming on. Pew pew!